Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we'll be reviewing a movie that's an independent film, I guess.
It looks to be an independent, yeah.
Called Area 407. And it was released in 2012.
Now,
you may have heard me mention it in our last podcast episode about being a really crappy movie.
Now, wait.
And I thought we might review this one.
Let's do a crappy... No, anyway, this Area 407 was originally titled Tape 407, the Mesa Reserve. But I think all the releases were under the name Area 407. So when you go hunting for it later on, after you hear our wonderful podcast, you can look for Area 407. Now, I will mention two things.
What's that?
At this point, and I'll probably mention it again later. This is a 2012 movie, but in some listings for Amazon and whatever, it's got 2013. It is the same movie, just cross-check directed by and the main stars. You get the right one, okay?
Yeah, in case if someone did something.
Yes, somebody did put the wrong dates in and stuff, and blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Usual rubbish.
Yeah.
Anyway,
one thing, originally I was going to do the Pyramid, found film, because
we did a Pyramid
but
one,
we've already done the Day of the Mummy, and I thought if I did that one now, you guys would be confused by
we'll be getting on an
that
archaeological tour
particular
or something,
movie. So I thought to avoid confusion on our parts, we decided to do this one.
We might do the other one later in a couple of months' time when things have cooled down a bit.
Yeah, when things cool down and we don't want to bore you guys to death with found footage movies.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Here we go. All the good bits. Produced by Matt Allen, Mitch Dickman, and Michael Haskins. Directed by Dale Fabrigar, I think it's the right pronunciation, Fabrigar, and Yvette Wallen. So it must have been assistant or director one, director two. Yeah. Anyway, written by Robert Shepia. Yeah, a mouthful. Okay, right. Our cast of players: Samantha Lester plays Jessie. James Lyons plays Jimmy. Melanie Lyons, what's it related, plays Laura Hawkins. Abigail Schrader plays Trish. Samantha Sloyan plays Lois. Brendan Patrick Connor plays Charlie. And just to make things confusing, we have a guy called Ken Garcia playing Charlie.
Yeah.
We have two Charlies. Why didn't they call him Alan or Fred? So we've got two Charlies. I do not know. It does make things a little confusing.
Right.
It's like, hey, Charlie, and I both turn around and say, yes. Okay. Yeah, whatever.
Yes, so anyway, as we're saying, I thought we might give this movie the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, but here, it's supposed to be, like Sarah said, found footage, science fiction, horror, dinosaur film.
Yes.
Okay? Right. All the above. It covers everything. Yeah, I didn't, and so there's no sex scene in it.
Well, it's a found footage. They don't necessarily need a sex scene in this one. Even though the other one we did cover did have one.
A little bit, yeah.
As long as it doesn't play a very big thingy wing in the production, that's fine.
Okay, I can't think of anything else to say prior to you going on with your doing the tell.
Okay.
Go on, get into it.
Anyway, so I might as well get into the story. So
you might as well. That's what you're here for.
So the story begins at a airplane, and two girls who are flying back from New York to Los Angeles are traveling on a small plane. What would you call it, Mike?
Well, it's two banks of seats, two lots of three. There's no center seat, so it's a smaller plane. Could be a 777 or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
One of those ones.
Yeah.
So anyway, they board it. It's probably getting close to the New Year, I think it was, according to the...
Yeah, they had New Year's... it must have been the last day of the year, because they had got little hats, little party favours going. We halfway through the flight before everything happened. Yeah.
The younger sister is carrying around her sister's Canon camera to record
a bit of product placement here,
bit
folks.
of a videoing, and that's where the found footage part comes into play.
And they make friends with a professional photographer who also gets his camera out.
Yeah.
Isn't that clever?
Yeah, he seems to have, he's not model photography. It's more like he photographed things for for journalists and stuff. Like he's been to Afghanistan and Iraq, the usual places with the
and probably it's a National Geographic sort of stuff, and
for newspapers and stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, the oldest girl to the sisters has a hobby of photography too, and that's why the girl has her camera, obviously.
Yeah, and her little sister's playing with it and recording everything,
Yes.
like a kid would.
Yeah, of course, Lois, the flight attendant, tells them to put the camera away because, electrical disturbances on planes. You're not allowed to do that.
We won't go into that.
But the girl continues to shoot even up to the point when the plane lifts off.
Yeah, it was banking at a very tight, doing a 45-degree angle and banking and turning into the direction they're going to go. Yeah, when the engine's on full rev and everything, you're supposed to have all your electrical gear off as per the airline's request.
Don't think about doing this, guys. You can do it in between flights.
However, they'll probably be on the ground to tilt the camera.
Yeah. Anyway, soon enough, they're heading off into the sunny skies, and then you get the odd complaining passenger like Charlie, who's he's an overweight, obnoxious, pain in the
like me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, no, not really. I'm just joking. And he's not really nice. Like, he's always asking the stewardess for nuts or alcohol.
He's one of those people you really don't want to sit next to on the plane during a long flight.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, soon enough, the group is given, the noisemakers, silver, gold, sparkly hats, and other Happy New Year items, to celebrate the New Year. So they count down like 12, 10, 11, the usual number. 10, 9, 8, 7, whatever.
6, 5, 4, 3. Blast off. And
then we sang Happy New Year. And they sing. Anyway, soon enough, there's a bit of turbulence, and the flight attendant tries to remark to everyone, it's just turbulence, nothing to worry about. But then it starts shaking crazily, and even one of the guys ends up flipping right onto the ceiling.
That was a good thing considering the plane was on the ground, eh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, the girls quickly get into their seats, and then we watch as the plane itself. Well, we don't see it. I mean, it's mostly staticky footage, obviously, at this point.
It's crappy.
Yeah, and soon enough they crash, and we see that the plane has been ripped apart, I think.
Yeah, it's an old wreck of a plane they use for the film footage. That's okay.
Yeah. Only a handful of survivors. Like, let me see, the two girls, the camera guy, that's free, the flight attendant, the Laura, I mean, Laura.
Oh, Laura,
Laura,
yeah.
who was she's a flight marshal.
That's right, yeah, that's right. She's a flight marshal.
And there's Trish, a nice girl, a lady, and let me see, there's Jim, and there's the. Actually, I should just say that I think the cameraman, the two girls, about 3 ladies survived anyway, and about 2 other men, obviously, and of course one of the men is go search for his girlfriend or wife, because most of the rest of the passengers either disappeared or died.
Well, they weren't there on the ground laying next to them, so you don't want to pay for extras you don't need.
Yeah. Of course, the youngest sister is very badly injured. She's got a bloody gash. Everyone's got a little bit of blood on their face. No scars, no whatevers.
The fake blood was really good.
It was fake blood.
A little bit too much in some bits, but it's okay.
Yeah. Anyway, the flight attendant tries to play, and another lady play a bit of a nurse. I wouldn't be surprised she is an actual nurse, but we never hear of a backstory. None of the people, aside from the photographer and aside from the 2 girls, we hear a little bit of their backstory, obviously.
You don't need it. They're going to be chased by a critter in the dark. That's it.
Anyway, they wait around for a bit, and they go. The flight attendant returns to the plane, and as she's getting some, food and anything that they need, like medication, stuff like that, something grabs her and hurls her inside. And when we see her much later on pulled out of the other side of the plane, we see that her body parts have been ripped apart.
Well, it's not the blood all over her. She wasn't even ripped apart, but she had been mangled and lots of blood over her. Yeah.
We then hear more creatures are probably coming. So the girls and the passengers quickly make their way to a cabin in the woods.
That's a good name for a movie.
They soon get there, and the creatures start circling the hut of sorts. We even get to see one of the passengers who finally arrives there, and we see the nose of one of the creatures that looks exactly like a raptor's nose.
Yeah. So when we start going, okay.
Yeah, eventually they do lock the door, and the creatures start circling. We don't see them very much. They just say, most of the time the passengers are very cryptic in what they see. They say that they saw a tail. They saw something flash.
I saw a shadow.
They saw a shadow. Things like that. It's very cryptic at this point.
Yeah, they don't know exactly what they're dealing with.
Yeah, they don't say the word dinosaur. You might as well.
You wouldn't have dinosaurs.
You might as
not
well
in this age.
say there's zombies or mutants or whatever.
Aliens.
Anyway, so they stay in the cabin for a bit, and they don't have much food. They just stay there.
No food. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, soon enough, I think it's this is where I think at this point a car pulls up to their hut. Well, he doesn't pull up to the hut. I mean, he comes there. We see a bit of light, and they try to wave him down.
Yeah, I think
and stuff
it was
like
about say 50 meters away. It stopped.
Yeah, and.
Wouldn't
of course,
come any closer.
But he wouldn't come closer, and then he kind of gets back into the car and drives away, while the passengers yell for him to
Get your
help
bum
them.
back here and save us. Very nice.
Of course, the creatures reappear, and they quickly scatter. Like, everyone starts running in different directions. Of course, I think one of the other men gets killed, and I think the one of the other ladies gets killed. And let me see. There's the fat Charlie that still remains with the girls. He actually appears in one scene. One of the scenes, but then he reappears and helps the girls, and he tries to comfort them as much as he could. Even though he's a total jerk sometimes.
Big fat guys have a heart condition, blood pressure problems, all the above.
He tries to comfort the girls as much as he could, and soon enough, the photographer and the field marshal, the flight lady I mentioned arrive, and they actually quickly head to a ghost town, deserted town, if you say.
Some deserted buildings, yeah.
Yeah, they go into a couple of the buildings, but some of them are, damaged from previous, from we don't know how it happened.
Yeah.
They soon find one that's completely closed off, but eventually allows them to get inside, obviously. They find a radio there that's one of those...
An old
one, a grubby, woldy one.
Yeah, World War II vintage almost, yeah.
Yeah, and
almost.
Yeah, they then start trying to phone anyone that has a radio, obviously.
Yeah.
And of course they get a signal, and the people on the other end say, "You must return to the plane so we can identify where you are
and pick you up
that way." Of course, they don't want to go out there.
I wouldn't.
There is a distinct possibility that whatever's out there will come attacking again.
Exactly. A good grounds movie, hey.
Yes. But they have no other options. So they head off, and of course they decide to take a different road because for fear that the creatures will come.
The creatures were attacking them on flat area. So they thought, well, we'll go through the more rougher terrain, over small rocks and stuff and different things where the critters supposedly ain't going to follow them.
Of course, while one of the men is doing his business, soon enough...
Business?
Don't know one.
He's a leak. He's having a leak. Yeah.
More of the creatures start arriving, and the girls and the photographer and the other lady, they quickly scatter into the woods, and they find eventually a car, and they get into it. It makes you wonder what happened to the occupants in that car.
I think he got eaten.
It was probably the same people who left them earlier on. I don't know. I could be wrong.
Don't know.
I can't say at this point. Soon enough, they get into the car, they drive a little bit, and then they stop for a minute. What did they say, Mike, again? That they realized that they could not drive any further for some cryptic reason?
I can't remember.
Anyway, but soon enough, the lady heads outside.
Didn't they
Oh, yeah,
damage
the
car?
lady and the photographer
Yeah, but
guy.
they're driving over rough ground or something
Yeah.
rather than they damage the car.
Oh, yeah, the lady and the photographer guy, they head outside, and it's up to the eldest sister, to drive the
She
car.
was driving the car, and she hit the
Oh,
other
I
lady.
should mention that more of those creatures start arriving, and they start jumping onto the roof of the car.
Yeah, trashing it. I hope they're insured.
They eventually drive for quite a distance, and the people that are leading them down the road eventually get... Well, the lady gets crumpled by the car. The girls were driving so fast that they end up crashing into her. I don't know.
That would hurt. That hurt, yeah.
Anyway, the photographer takes over the driving, and... Well, actually, yeah, the photographer takes over the driving, and... we eventually ride back at the airplane, and he goes inside it, and
he finds the flares.
He finds the flares,
Aha.
shoots one off, but then he gets attacked by another one of those creature thingies.
Yep.
And the girls, they quickly make like running deer and try to head into the woods. And eventually, as they're heading into the woods, it gets dawn. You can see
twilight,
you can see beyond the horizon, the sky's turning a
paler dark
blue color.
A paler color, yeah. So dawn is imminent.
Yeah. Soon enough, dawn does break through, and the girls make their way through some damaged fences that say, keep out for gosh knows reasons.
Secured area, blah 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 blah.
But
yeah.
as they're heading out, we see another car pull up, and the man asks them if they were if there is any more survivors, stuff like that, and he invites them into the car, and he produces a gun and shoots the other sister and shoots the other one off screen. Well, not really off screen.
Yeah.
We don't see her getting killed.
He just shoots the two of them. Just get over it, will you?
He then picks up the camera. It's actually at this point, the camera she was holding in the second half is actually the professional photographer's camera.
Yeah, I think that's steal it. You can't trust anybody, can you?
And of course, he says he wants to have a look at it. Then we see a massive T-Rex come out of nowhere and eats him.
But just before this happened, he said, I've just swept the area, which means obviously he was possibly a plainclothes army guy doing his reconnaissance out there, getting rid of the people who might have been witnesses to what's going on in this area.
Yeah. So we don't know whether these guys are part of the military, and they've been breeding dinosaurs for military purposes, like in the Jurassic World, if you will.
Yeah.
So anyway, the movie fades out, and the credits start to roll. The end.
Boy, it was fun.
Yeah, no survivors. That's the first.
Hey,
well, not really. That's not
there
first.
wasn't any survivors. Yeah.
I mean, in most of these found footages, they do that.
Wasn't it the pyramid didn't have any survivors either?
Yeah, there was no survivors in that one. The found footage movies, if they do correctly, you make out that no one survived.
Yeah,
it's a little bit more epic and cooler.
That's why it's a found footage, because no one survived to say, I have got these films, or this DVD, or this whatever, because there's no one there. So, yeah, of course you got to die.
And the footage itself is confiscated by either the government or by the organisation, whether it's a terrorist group or the government.
I think it's in this case it's done in America, so you'd think it's American, someone in America, government or army, someone special,
or it's like a nature preserve that doesn't
look after the dinosaurs and let them grow and nurture them and let them take a meaningful place in today's complex society.
The one thing about this is we've seen the menacing dinosaurs, we've seen raptors, we've seen the T-Rex, but we don't know if there's any ordinary Vegisaurus is
like
around.
A Brachiosaurus,
any of them could be good for the militarizing-ish. Maybe not the big ones.
There's a bit of typecasting here,
Yeah. I mean, look at the ones that have spikes on the backs. These can be really good for body armor, stuff like that.
Stegosaurus, isn't it? Stegosaurus,
yeah. Or the other species that deal with that sort of thing.
The Triceratops, they got little horny things, yeah.
They may be vegetarians, but they still know how to attack people.
Yeah, I would want to come across one.
Yeah, true. It would be nice if there was some nice Vegisauruses around in this movie, but I guess the whole point
maybe the Metasauruses ate the Vegisauruses.
But maybe the whole point of this movie is to focus on the fact that these people can't see the creatures, obviously.
Yeah, actually, most of the time you didn't see the dinosaurs. It's only when they got in that little shack or building, they had one poke its head through the door a bit and they trying to lock it out, and then a bit later on, towards the end of it.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if they actually viewed the footage and try to work out who these creatures are instead of just keep on running. Throughout this movie, they had plenty of opportunities to actually sit down and actually view the footage and work out what these creatures are, and maybe be able to work out how to fight them off, or not really fight them off. Try to
them off.
Whatever. Anyway, I do think, as I said before, that this movie should have had a little bit more. Aside from the ending, which we saw the huge T-Rex in its massive form, there were other times when we don't see the dinosaurs. We see a bit of a nose, where I said before, where we see the dinosaur's nose in full view, and it's maybe few claws. But aside from that, we don't see. We see a blur, like blur footage.
And out of focus blur in front of the camera. Obviously you wouldn't be focused in on it if you didn't know it was coming, so that's fair enough.
Yeah, so that would be not an issue, really, to be honest.
No, that's a sense of reality. It wouldn't be in focus, which is good. I got no problem with that. Yeah.
So I have no problem with it either, Mike. I mean, I think that it was well shot because when you look at any of these movies, they have to be shaky and stuff. They're not supposed to be shot by a professional.
Well, you wouldn't think so. Yeah, you wouldn't have a static... For a fan footage, you wouldn't be doing static shots. Yeah. It's nice to have some static shots, though.
Yeah, true. I wouldn't be surprised that when the girls were filming, they probably weren't aware that the camera was still on when they crashed. That's why the girl kept holding it around. Yeah. I mean, what would the point, considering, unless they're going to hopefully use it to sue the airline that caused the plane crash?
Document it. So, look, hey, I want some compensation here. That's a good idea, isn't it?
Yeah,
Always take a camera on the plane, folks.
Another thing was, what if that area that they landed in or crashed in, I think that maybe they were in a sort of... a dead zone type environment they were flying over probably a legal area they're not allowed to fly over.
Well, possibly they got off course.
Yeah,
you never know. I don't know. It didn't come into the film.
Yeah, like maybe accidentally they end up flying in an area that doesn't have very many radio frequency, whatever, even though that makes no sense. But maybe, just maybe...
It could be blocking?
They could have blocked them, or maybe something like that would be interesting. I mean...
Bermuda Triangle on land.
Okay. Yeah, something like that. I mean, we can only guess why these people accidentally landed on... Or maybe it could have been...
They didn't accidentally. The plane got shaken up by something and it crashed.
Yeah.
They just happened to land there.
But then again, if I've watched Airport Investigations so many times, it could be in a number of things. Could be even
the pterodactyl got them.
Could have been even pilot error, or could be something damaged, like a fuel line broke or something.
The plane was being shaken up and down a lot. They're going through a very bad weather system up there. And because that guy was thrown up onto the ceiling and stuff, that's not a fuel line problem.
Well, neither was the shaking.
That could be. Have you ever been in a plane where you're going through bad weather conditions?
Yeah.
I have, okay?
Yeah, there could be a weather problem too.
It could
There's
be.
that too.
Air pockets and different things and turbulence and stuff and things. And
air pockets?
I've been on... I went into an airport once down in Hobart, and I was in a small plane. I can't remember what sort of plane it was. And there was lots of air pockets there. It was like going downstairs. Drop, bang, go a bit, drop, bang, drop, all the way down to the airport. I was feeling mighty sick. And I usually travel well on the planes, but I wasn't feeling really good after that landing. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, over the mountains. No, it wasn't very good at all.
Yeah, so anyway... let's look at reception, shall we? I mean, there's not very much reception on this movie.
No one liked it. There you go.
Yeah, there was no good reviews about it, which is sad.
Wait a minute. No, I haven't got a lot of reviews. I have some. I don't want to use any really weird, crappy things.
Too late.
No. Okay. William Goss from film.com gave the film rating a D and wrote, "For some reason, The motivation of panic seems like constant rationale for ensemble hysteria in low-budget films like these, and I'd be able to forgive it all, well, most of it.
Uh-huh.
If Area 407 had actually made with some effective frights or more inventive mythology rather than amorously casting in on this trend of handheld hokum.
Right.
Yeah, waffle. Okay,
Waffle.
Jinx of Dread Central gave the film a 1.5 out of 5, and he wrote, as a traditionally shot narrative film, this movie would have been terrible. As a found footage flick, it's punishment. So, yeah, it didn't get a lot of good reception there, no.
Horror News did give it a good reception, but I don't know what it was.
Yeah. Anyway, a lot of folk didn't like it.
No, they didn't.
It's a bit cheesy. I wouldn't say it's amateurish, but they could have done so much more with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess they thought they can get away with it. Yeah, I mean,
honestly, okay, I'm gonna say, the acting in the main was a little bit overdone, but passable. It's found footage. It's not supposed to be acted. It's supposed to be a bunch of people stuck in a ridiculous situation. Okay.
yeah, like the plane from Lost.
Yeah.
I don't know much about that one.
So you put up a little bit of the overacting bit. Oh, panic. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. Moving on from that, I don't think the filming was that bad for what it was.
For what it was, it's fine.
Yeah, I think the filming was good, and I would get the feeling I think this was a low budget job. I don't know what the figures were.
Me neither.
I went straight to DVD, so I got no cinema box office information. But I would say by the way they did it, it was a low budget job because they actually had a plane they were sitting in, making out that was flying.
Yes.
Okay, and then the rest was done on the ground in the dark with an old wreck of a part of a plane and some old derelict buildings.
Right.
And that's about all you saw, and the old fencing at the end. So there wasn't a lot of stuff they had to put together. So I'd say, yeah, low budget job, and they got by with what they had to make the film.
Right.
Okay, but that doesn't take away from having a good polished story.
Exactly.
And that's where I think not knocking the writer Robert Shepia, but they could have done so much more with the storyline. The actors could have done it a little bit differently to make it a little bit more. What's the word I'm looking for? Something to drag you in, feel like you're part of it. I mean, they just didn't have that. It was like you're sitting there going, watch these people run around in ever-decreasing circles, but you didn't actually feel part of it. And to me, a good movie like this, or like it should have been, is to drag you into it and you start to feel part of the movie, even though you're a bit of voyeuristic sort of stuff. You feel a little bit part of it, but I didn't feel part of this movie. I felt like I was just watching a commercial. And that's how it came over to me, which is unfortunate because it had so much potential to be so much more. So
It did have so much potential, guys.
Yeah.
So anyway, now to our rating, obviously, and we usually
talk a bit more. But there's not much to talk about.
There's not very much about it. We don't know the
box. There's no box office.
There's no box office budget.
It went straight to DVD, so there's no cinema. Yeah, box office stuff.
There may have been just a small premiere by a couple of people, maybe close friends.
Yeah. You put a 6-pack of beer on and a bag of chips,
Yeah, exactly. So
whatever.
Yeah.
Couple of Happy Meals. Yeah.
Okay. I think that the Jim character and Laurie are probably maybe siblings. I think Mike. They might be related.
Well,
actually.
Jimmy and Jimmy and Laura.
Yeah, they're actually related.
Well,
I think they might be family members.
Well, they're Lions. L-Y-O-N, same surname. So, yes, possibly. It could be brother and sister, husband and wife, something or other.
Yeah, that could be a possibility.
No, you never know your luck.
Anyway, so
I can't think of anything else to say about this.
Me neither. So we need to rate this now, guys.
This is going to be one of our shorter ones, folks.
Damn.
If you want to go out and do something now, okay. I'm not going to troll it to death because if it's independent, and independent usually is limited by their budget and not knowing what the budget was and the constraints. But I'm still going to mug it down about an 8. Maybe no. 8's good. There's so much they could have done with it they didn't do. So I'll make it definitely an 8 on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 8.5 out of 10 myself.
It's a good watch, but they could have done
Yeah.
so much more with it.
Yeah, Hell House
Yeah,
and
yeah.
other found footage can be a lot more cooler and a lot more interesting to watch.
Yeah, I mean, some are really pathetic. This doesn't go down to pathetic.
Yeah, I know we mentioned in our last podcast that how this was a sort of a slow approach to getting people interested, which doesn't surprise me because this movie was another. I think how long was this? In movie minutes.
Oh, let's have a look at it. 90 minutes.
Yeah, 90 minutes. So that's the let me see.
An hour and a half.
And so that would be like an hour and a half. I mean, I'm amazed they were able to get it to an hour and a half when I think about it.
Well, the credits are about 5 minutes. No.
Whereas the other movie we reviewed last time we were together was only in just an hour and 16 minutes.
Yeah, 16, I think. Yeah. Look, I'm all for a shorter movie if you get rid of superfluous crap.
Yeah.
Pardon the language. Because, I mean, back in the olden days, you look at an old Charlie Chan movie and those sorts of movies and some of the film noirs, they only went for about an hour and 10 minutes.
Ah. Okay.
But they had a nice, tight story going in there. They didn't fill it with padding. They went straight into it. They didn't make it a stretch. Oh, let's make it 2 hours. No. Yeah, they did an hour and 10, hour and 15, and that was it because they could tell the story and have it closed down quite nicely within that period of time.
Yeah, it is amazing that such found footages that were probably released around the time when Cloverfield came out, a lot of found footages came after that and started trying to hog the spotlight as much as possible.
There's room for found footage, and actually it's a cheap way to make. It's an inexpensive way to make a film. You can run around there for camera and do whatever and bung it together. If you've got a good editor, it might come out reasonably entertaining.
Yeah.
But it's not always going to work.
No.
Yeah. And a lot of times they have a problem with lighting. Sometimes the camera is so jittery you can't see what's going on. There's got to be a fine line here, what's acceptable and not acceptable in a found footage movie.
Yeah.
And that's to me, there should be, what's I'm looking for? A lot of it should be from the camera perspective, but there should be a breakaway from that to give an overview of what's actually going on for people, and a lot of them don't actually do that. Yeah, but they say, oh, it's found footage, I wouldn't have that. Yeah. Okay, I know that, but, what's the person with the camera doing?
It would be so cool if they, War of the Worlds, that someone would make a movie where, or not really a movie, just try to make an actual vlog series and try to make out that it was all based off reality, take a video vlog and try to make out that it's all,
Oh, yeah, the same way Orson Welles did that radio broadcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where it had no breaks and people
thought it was real.
Yeah,
that was fun. Anyway.
I guess I'm thinking, the reason I brought that up is because I was thinking about this latest movie that came out probably last year that people are still talking about, online a lot, called Not Okay. You may have heard of it, obviously. It's about a girl who tries to be an influencer, and she tries to hog the spotlight by pretending she's a bit of a victim in a terrorist attack.
Yeah, and it gets out of control. But we weren't going to talk about that now.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out whether or not to review that one. I'm not 100% because that one is a different genre to the ones we usually cover on this channel a lot. Yeah,
it doesn't quite fit in what I like anyway. That's another movie which could have been done a bit better. But I mean, it's not a bad story. But
but it does have
stretching the imagination too far.
It does have a real characteristic approach to what a person's would react to how they react to something like this. Would they troll about it? Would they support the hero, or would they hate the hero?
Exactly. Yeah. So it's interesting. Actually, we probably won't review that one. But if you want to have a look, It's Not All Right is an interesting look, but it's about social media and stuff and how it can get out of control. So, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe one day, if I make another review channel for you guys, I might look into actual reviewing movies that are outside of this genre, obviously. I mean, there's got to be a time where we can probably sit down and actually review other movies aside from sci-fi, horror, and
What's
fantasy.
it called? Midnight Madness.
What?
Midnight Madness? That'd be a good name for a podcast.
No, someone already took it.
I know.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'll like that.
so that's it for us tonight, guys. I'm sorry, this is going to be one of our shortest ones, but
yeah. Well, yeah, for shortest one for an awful long time.
aside from that, we didn't get down each other's throat in this one.
Oh, are you doing an argument now?
Nope.
No, okay. Yeah, we'll do it
kinda
later.
glad
We'll do it
I
later
don't.
after you blog out. Yeah.
So anyway,
Wait a minute. Where did we get it?
here. This is important,
if
guys.
If you really want to, no.
If you want to be desperate and watch it,
No, I wouldn't say it. Okay, eBay, there's plenty for sale. Not bad. Amazon, yes, you can rent it and you can buy a copy. I would suggest of this movie, rent it.
and if you have it, if you do spot it on YouTube, watch it that one. If you don't, if you're left with no little choice.
Now remember, when you're looking for this, use the date, the 2012 was your main search date for the film, but some of the product listings on Amazon have 2013. It's the same film.
Yeah.
So if you follow the director Dale Fabregas and Yvette Wallen and maybe the actors Samantha, Lester, James Lyons, Melanie Lyons, whatever. If you use those names when you're doing your search on a product, you're going to get the right movie.
Yes, as I said before, guys, check the names, check the director, and check the
I don't
date.
think there's any other similar named movies out there, but you know.
But you never know, Mike. Considering the fact we've come across a lot of movies that often have the same name and come out at the same time.
And even the same year, yeah.
And that's annoying because it makes it difficult.
And then people go and download the wrong movie.
I found out this movie. I found out about this movie about that's called Influencer, about another movie that deals with social media, and it comes off as a bit of a horror thriller type one, and I'm having a hard time trying to find it because The Influencer has another movie called The Influencer, which makes it a difficult place to find the actual movie. We will dig, of course, as per usual. But aside from that, it does seem annoying when some people out there put two movies out there and never bother to actually put it under a different name.
Yeah. How many movies have been called Dracula and nothing else, just Dracula?
Yeah.
And how many Frankenstein movies have just been called Frankenstein? Yeah. So it does get a bit samey after all, hard to find product. Yeah.
So that's it for us tonight, guys.
Anyway.
So be sure to check out this movie, and even if you don't really like it, be sure to comment on about it.
Look, it's not bad. I wouldn't say it's a name movie.
Yeah.
I'd say it's more of a B movie category.
Yeah, I would recommend it.
Yeah,
I mean, I do I do feel like it is a B-ish.
Yeah.
It falls under a B.
I would. Look, it's not a bad movie. It's just it's lacking a bit here and there.
Yeah.
And we'd like your feedback on it as usual.
Yeah, feedback is always good, guys. And don't send me any more junk mail.
What sort of junk mail?
I get junk mail. Sometimes people don't post me a comment that relates to the movie I often review. It's annoying. Don't do it anymore, guys. To be honest, I don't really like those. Alright, that's it for us tonight, guys. So, thanks for listening to our latest podcast, everyone. And I look forward to your comments on the movie, not on your favorite sandwich.
Yeah, okay. Or pizza or something.
Okay, that's it for us tonight. So, this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now.
Bye.